Okay, we are here, Saturday night's Romford Horror Festival. We've just had the screening of the fantastic Spoiling You, and we've got a packed house. Let's have a round of applause, please, for the filmmakers before we start. So the first question I've got to ask is to you, Megan. How difficult was it to convince Lawrie not to wear that catsuit this evening?
Well, there was only one, so I backed it.
So this is a fantastic film. Can we first talk about the writing? I've never heard of an ASMR horror film, so how did you come up with the concept?
Well, I'm an ASMR fan, if you can't tell. I've been watching ASMR videos for probably about 10 years. I find them incredibly relaxing, but there's something about them I've always found a little bit unsettling as well, and I find that really interesting. I've always found it interesting. There's an intimacy, for me at least, about ASMR, and I think that is what is intended with ASMR, this intimacy. I feel, when I watch ASMR, I feel like a very close friend is speaking to me, connecting with me, or perhaps even a lover. There is just something so ephemeral about ASMR. It brings my guard up. And so I wanted to explore that area between intimacy and horror. Okay. And so yes, I made this.
Let's ask the rest of you then. When you first heard about, first of all, did you know what ASMR was? Let's start with that. And then how did you kind of react to it? How did you think, how's this going to work? How are you going to interpret it? Laurence, do you want to go first?
Yes, I knew what ASMR was. I was interested in like, yeah, I mean, YouTube videos and stuff with ASMR in. But yeah, I mean, it's that same kind of thing as doctors and opticians and so on, where they're talking quite close to you, and it's there's always something a little bit unsettling as well as close and intimate as well. So whilst at one level it's soothing, at the same time there's still that kind of threat. So yeah, that's what I thought was interesting when Megan said that she was going to be doing an ASMR based horror. So, yeah.
How about you, Steve?
I had no idea what it was. So kind of, when I found out about this, I kind of looked into it a little bit, and yeah, definitely I did see that there was something quite romantic, passionate about it, but also kind of creepy as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a film about fandom as well, isn't it? An obsession.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lawrie, how did you know, what was your reaction when Megan first said, oh, I've got this idea?
Well, with the British Horror Studio, we've got folks pitching ideas within it, the team, 4 films, and Megan is such a passionate and earnest creative person, almost completely unfiltered. I mean, one of your biggest idols is Andre Toffey, Adrian Toffey, yeah, and that kind of thing. And it's never pitched as a film, like as a concept, in a normal commercial sense. It's more pitched as something that is emotionally intense and existential. It has a purpose. It has to convey something about loneliness and the solution that the intimacy of ASMR can bring. And as someone that has at times in my personal life suffered from depression and loneliness, especially as a guy, there was something that the maternal care that the promise of ASMR can bring with its whispered comforts and things, and then at times perverting that and then coming back full circle, kind of almost what feels like a tragic love story. That was something that I was barely able to get my head around, as a horror producer, because this isn't the kind of stuff that's normally coming out of the indie sphere. But when I see younger artists pitching that with such full, soulful commitment, I have to support them, and that's what I did.
Megan, were you always going to play the lead? Was there ever a moment where you would have given it to someone else, or were you, this is mine, I've written this is mine?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I was terrified about directing my first ever feature film and playing the lead. It was a really terrifying prospect. I kind of fell in love with all the characters, and Miss Mutter felt a bit difficult to access at first because obviously it is a character that has mutated and has perverted it. It is a kind of an ultimate woman, but also an ultimate monster. And so that's terrifying, and I didn't know how I'd ever be able to do that as well as direct and keep the ship going. But I lived to challenge myself, and I knew if I didn't do it, I would have really deeply regretted it. And so, yeah, no, I kind of knew there was no going back. I just had to just go for it and live in fear.
Yeah, to go out of your comfort zone.
Completely,
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it very much was, but I'm glad I did it.
Was there a moment where the rest of you had to do the same? Come out of your comfort zone, something you've not maybe experienced before? To get inside the heads of the characters, maybe? Or
Just another psycho role for me. I mean, the Miss Kitty Mutter costume was hot, but other than that,
I've got to say on your performance, Laurence, like that day I arrived on set for that scene, when you were walking towards me and hit me with a dialogue, I was genuinely creeped out. Like, I think I said, "What the fuck?" and that was not Drew saying that, that was me. It was masterful. It was amazing.
Yeah, I just want to add for Laurence as well. There's always a thin line between absurdism with horror. Does it fall into comedy or does it fall into menace? And I feel that you successfully navigated that careful combination of absurdism and menace to create a memorable antagonist. And I was really impressed, really blown away.
thank you.
Megan, how did you balance being a first-time director with acting? How difficult was it to wear those different hats?
It wasn't so difficult to come out of the character, say, like on a day when it was, particularly ambitious with lots of Miss Mutter performance, and obviously I am the director. I could kind of snap out very quickly, but it was a real challenge to get back in and find the character after, because obviously I had to review every take that I was in, because I needed to know if it was right. I had a great team, to be honest, and that's how I managed it. All of my amazing team supported me through this. My great first AD, Callum Paul, I would ask him sometimes if it was particularly the final torture scene at the end, I would say, can you count to 10 before saying action rather than 3, 2, 1 action, just to give me that time to find her again. And I really appreciate my team bearing with me, because I wanted to do the part justice, but also the film has to come first, and I was just trying to find that balance.
How do you find the character like that? How do you go back into it in such a small space of time? How do you prepare yourself?
Do you mean in those 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Ah,
Is it just a place you go to? I don't know. I've played a castrated zombie once. I've never done any other acting, so
I love it.
I'm available though.
The more to play.
Oh yeah. I've never actually thought of a character as a place, but now you mention it, maybe it is. I don't know how to say it, you just sort of leave. But no, I like that way of thinking about it, actually. I'm probably going to use that next time.
How about you guys? Any kind of tips? What's your kind of method?
I would just add an observation. When Meg is acting, because sometimes I've had the privilege of directing Meg as well, unlike many actors, she maintains a level of intense devotion to the role that borders almost on the uncomfortable when you're directing. There isn't really an ordinary sort of countdown action. It's more, she has become, and if you get in her way and she's playing a terrifying character, all hell might break loose.
Thank you.
Stephen, do you want to go first?
Yeah, for me it was like I sort of wanted little mannerisms for Drew. You probably noticed a lot. He's always kind of playing with his fingers quite a bit. So kind of in between takes, when getting back into it, that's what I would sort of think about. I would sort of get back into that nervousness of him and just maybe start kind of fiddling about with the fingers again. And you just sort of, it's like a little kind of trick just to kind of get you back into him.
Yeah.
With Miss Kitty Mutter, I guess it's more that it's kind of a henchman. It's kind of it's Megan's henchman, but also a sort of devotee. A sort of, I was Stephen's character at one point, and then have become this kind of obsessive devotee that helps Miss Mutter. So yeah, I mean, it's all understanding that I'm sort of partway between these two.
If you don't mind me adding, I would just say with Steve as well, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind saying, me and Steve, as many guys in this room will have experienced in their lives, have had mental health challenges and issues, from depression to whatever, you name it. And there was a humanity I felt that you expressed with your character, a pathos that allowed a way in for a lot of guys that have had those problems and issues, which was down to your performance and also to the way you directed Meg as well. You conceived of something that expressed not just the vulnerabilities of the Drew character, but of your own. When you say we're the same, effectively, I think that was there was something very humble and powerful about being open to that kind of expression of the pain that we can feel and the loneliness we can feel in today's culture, despite the internet and social media and everything.
Yeah, because I think there was times within filming, spoiling you, that I was sort of in that, but it was kind of good to have the support from. I mean, I've known these guys for years, so they've been very, very supportive and helpful, and they've never judged me or anything with that kind of stuff. And I think it was nice to push myself when sort of feeling that way. It was almost kind of cathartic in a way as well, and it was really good to kind of share that amongst friends whilst making this film together. It was very special.
Yep. Well, question to each of you: which was your most fun day on the shoot? The most the most fun you had which day? What happened?
Sure. I think the most fun day has to be the music performance with me and Laurence and Steve. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a freezing day. We didn't have heating in the cinema that we were working in. It was brutal, but it was so cathartic. I loved what the guys did. I loved their scenes, and it was very surreal to be standing on a podium that was very high for about 3 hours straight, just singing opera over and over. You don't get that very often in your life, so. And I was very, yeah.
Round of applause for the singing, fantastic.
Yeah, that scene in the cinema was, I mean, the cinema's freezing, but that scene was a lot of fun to do. And of course, chasing Stephen around with scissors. That was a lot of fun too. Very good.
I must say, I really admire how much you committed in the scene of eating the flesh. I must say, a lot of actors would have, they wouldn't have gone to that level, but I really admire your commitment.
I was just hungry, that's it. I totally did it.
Yeah, I just want to add on Lawrence's behalf as well. Like, to deliver such villainy with such charisma actually requires an exceptional level of dramatic talent as an actor, and I don't feel Laurence gets enough credit for his dramatic talents because he so masterfully delivers these eccentric characters. But you are really an exceptional artist.
Thank you.
I find it difficult to choose between that day with Laurence, because watching you in that scene, and you know, even though you're acting, you're in character, etc., you're always watching what someone else is doing, and you're always kind of picking up on the little nuances. And what I loved what you did, and I've spoken about it afterwards to many people, is how you had such control over your voice when you went up and then down, up and down. It was so jarring to be standing there watching it. It was, as I said before, masterful. But it was between that day and probably me and Meg's first day of sitting down and having the dialogue. I've got really fond memories of that, because I think, you know, we've worked together a few times in different things, but when you're sitting and you're having that sort of first scene of dialogue with each other, that's when I personally feel, is this working? And I think it was maybe after the first take, I was like, we've got this. It just worked. You know, you can tweak it, etc. But I think things sort of settle after kind of knowing that chemistry's there. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. We've probably got time for one or two audience questions. Do you want to? Yep, hand went straight up there.
Thank you everyone for the film. That's excellent, very good directorial debut. My question is about the writing. Did you sort of think, particularly about Miss Mutter, did you think about the backstory of the character? Was that important when you were sort of putting the script together, to know what she's been through before she got to the point we see her in the film?
Yes. Well, first I must say the writing for Spoiling You was a collaboration between myself and Lawrie Brewster here, and honestly, he has been my rock through this project. I really could not have done it without him, and I must say thank you so much for co-writing, co-editing, sound design, all of this with me. I couldn't have done it without you, so thank you. Yes, as an actor, I like to do a lot of prep and have a lot of thought beforehand. And the same did carry into my film and all of the characters and their backstories. I am a person that likes backstory. So I did a lot of work on that. However, I don't want to spoil it. I actually like the thought of people having interpretations of what they just saw and hopefully wondering what it can mean. And so I don't want to say too much about that backstory, because I would like people to fill in the blanks themselves.
Thank you. I'm stealing that question, by the way.
Right,
Really
hang on,
good.
hang on. I've got. Was there one here? There's one here.
Thank you for that brilliant presentation. It was such a wonderful movie. But I'm a little bit of a kind of technology kind of nerd, little historian nerd, and like you all said about the being aware of ASMR with TikTok and YouTube. All of the kind of technology that was in the movie seemed to have different kind of time periods associated with it. And I don't know if the answer to this would be the answer that you just said, but I was wondering what time period it was meant to be set in, or if it was meant to be ambiguous.
Thank you. Yeah, it is meant to be ambiguous. I really like anachronistic films, and we were also very inspired by 90s and early 2000s J-horror films. And so I kind of wanted to create my own little world of what if ASMR existed in the 90s, early 2000s in an alternate Britain, which has somewhat J-horror influences from that time. Lawrie really liked that idea as well. We naturally make a lot of retro horror films with the other films that we make, so it just kind of fitted what we do and what we're about anyway. So it just felt right for this film and for my vision, really. Thank you.
Another one here. Hang on.
Hi. I just wanted to ask, I'm going to throw two questions and you can decide what one to answer, but obviously with it being ASMR, sound design plays a huge part of this film. So you just want to talk a little bit about that. And obviously there was a lot of audience laughs, but the film has got really serious themes as well. So how was it finding that balance between funny scenes and actually, you know, telling a heartfelt thematic message?
I guess I'll go first if you want to talk about it. Personally, I don't like, well, it's not that I don't like, but I didn't want to make a safe film. And so I love the in-between of, is it meant to be funny or is it meant to be serious, and is it scary or is it just strange? And so I wanted people to be guessing. I wanted to kind of keep it on the edge of these things, because I kind of feel like that's where people start to imagine and start to, again, like I was saying, fill in the blanks. I was really happy with where people laughed and where they didn't laugh, personally, and I'm very curious to see how other people react to the film, because it's kind of a personal experience when you watch a film, and I would never want to tell an audience how to feel, because that's their experience. So at least that's how I feel about it. Would you like to comment about that?
I have nothing further to add. I mean, Meg really covered that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Yep, that one there, Spencer.
Hello, thank you again. And first, the singing, and of course, you've been a dancer. Will we get more singing in the future? Maybe like a murder musical or something?
Well, thank you so much. Well, I guess I can say that there is going to be a sequel. Well, I've said it. I've said it. Yeah, so that, there is going to be a sequel to Spoiling You 2. And yes, it is very likely there will be a music number in there. So yes, thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you. And not a question, but the outfit, oh my god. Game meltdown imminent. Wow.
Means your outfit, Laurence.
Yeah, nothing beats a fat man in an anime kitty cat costume. I mean, you know, that really was the serious heart of the...
Could have been me, Laurence. Could have been me.
Is there another one back there, Spencer, or was it one here? Down. Very front row.
No.
He's mincing. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
I was wondering, do you have a favourite ASMR creator?
I don't know if I could pick one. I really like Ephemeral Rift, and I'm very inspired because he has very horror-themed ASMRs, which I love. I also love Emma's MySpace. She has such a kind of out-there aesthetic with her things, but I think I've watched a lot of ASMR creators over the years, and they've all subconsciously dripped down and inspired me with this film, but I couldn't pinpoint one because they're all really talented. But there's just a few. Yes.
So no, you've got a top 10?
Very good.
Okay.
Megan, how does it feel to now see all your hard work and your team's work on the big screen? Because you must be so immensely proud.
Thank you. Yeah, at first I was absolutely terrified because I think anybody here that is creative will know it's a very vulnerable feeling to show your work to an audience and share it with them. But I'm just so grateful for the support of my team, and thank you all for watching it, seeing it. Thank you. Yes.
If I can add a shameless plug, Peter, if folks are interested in the work that we're making, we have a free to join Patreon where we post every couple of days just on all the stuff we're working on, called the British Horror Studio. Meg's on Instagram as well, where she's posting these really dreamlike, ephemeral kind of behind the scenes and images and things like that. And I guess, Peter, just ask yourself, is there any audience voting for any things at all? I can't remember.
No, not this year.
Well, forget that then. And
Talk about it on your social media and all that stuff. Spread the word about the film.
I'll just add, like, I, as a producer, I did not know what to expect from the film entirely, because Meg, with this kind of tempestuous, almost Vivian Lee-like emotional intensity, told me that if I was too close to the production, it wouldn't give her enough space to develop as an artist, you know, with her own creative vision. And working with great artists and friends like Stephen and Laurence and then the rest of the guys behind the camera, it was something of a big surprise, you know, when I saw the film at an advanced stage of post. But I couldn't be more proud of Meg and everyone else in the production. And when I added the bits of just the polish, you know, mixing and all this kind of stuff, it was really exceptional to see a young woman working within the company doing something that surprised so much this Alan Partridge, like indie film producer that I am. And with Meg and with other young artists working with the British Horror Studio, including Dorian Todd and others, wonderful guys that you'll see in Black Chariot and Mr. Whispers, which is screening tomorrow, which are films that also star Meg as well, which I hope I'll see you guys at. I couldn't be more proud. When I was younger, it was, you know, a director, I was like, oh, I hope, you know, but now, as a 44-year-old man, I look at the artists coming up, and I'm so excited to do what I can to help them reach their potential and to build something bigger than oneself. You know, so well done, guys.
Thank you.
So the last question for you, Megan, is the sequel going to be your next directorial project, or have you got other ideas?
It is going to be my next directorial project, yes.
And have you started writing?
Yes, actually, about 60 minutes of it is already in the can, so it's going to be the last half hour next.
Okay. Will we see it here next year, maybe?
I think so. I hope so, if you have me.
Of course we will. Excellent stuff. Congratulations again, first time feature as a director, incredible. And the whole project's fantastic, you did a great job leading these guys. I'm sure they're not all easy to work with.
Well,
to wrangle.
The thing is, it's Megan's first feature, but she did direct another thing that I am in, and I had the pleasure of working with Megan as a director, which is yet to come out.
Well, funnily enough, that is part of an anthology that we hope
Yes.
we will see played at the International Romford Festival. We'll be submitting it for Spencer and for the programming team to consider.
So, we all have a round of applause for our filmmakers. Congratulations. Thank you.